Status of Okumogba in Okere.
To end the Warri crisis, the Okere people are very, very instrumental. Warri crisis started because of Okumagba, and it is only Okere people that can tackle him. And let me say some few things. First and foremost, we have to know what happened in that Okumagba layout. I won't go too far. I will just start with Okumagba Ebo himself. Okumagba Ebo was a grandson of, I won't mention their names, of people who came from Okpari Olomu. They claim to be three brothers, but it is a lie. Oki, Olodi, and Igo Gbadu were sons of Soworuwe, Idama, Itifo, and some others. That is their claim, but it is not true. Actually, Oki was an Ishekiri. There was a deal over there. So what really happened come down to Okumagba Ebo. Okumagba Ebo, who was the father of Daniel, the father of Benjamin, the father of Emmanuel, and so on. Okumagba Ebo had at least 10 children, about 10 children, all of them with Ishekiri names. Now, who is Okumagba Ebo? Okumagba Ebo was a domestic servant. Let me just use a better word. A domestic servant to Awani. If not, it was worse than that. But let us just call him a domestic servant to Awani. When Okumagba Ebo came, it was the time when Arukulei, with his wife Idiboye, were in charge of Okere. Now, when the ancestors of Okumagba Ebo came, it was the time of Arukulei. So that is where they strolled into Okere from Okpari. A book by Okumagba himself, MP Okumagba, who was a nurse, he wrote a history of Urobo. That book showed that Okpari Olomu, where Okpeki came, Okpeki did not come, but the children of one Okpeki, who was driven by war. That war was caused by Ishekiri people inside Okpari Olomu, where the Ishekiris were hunting for slaves. That is when these brothers running away from the war, maybe being caught, were carried down to Okere, maybe as property of slave this thing, and they were later married into the Okere family, and they became part of Okere. Now, but after some time, Awani still saw it legit to use Okumagba Ebo as his houseboy. Okumagba Ebo died in serious pain from deep suffering and had a lot of inferiority complex, which can be judged by the names of his children, which are all in Ishekiri. Not just Ishekiri name, but Ishekiri sorrowful names. For example, I won't name the people, but if time comes, maybe I will name them. Eshofwanga Torimi is the name of one of his sons. It is not the fault of those that are laughing at me, or it is not the fault of those that are jesting me or mocking me. Now, another of Okumagba's son is Uyakomino. I'm overwhelmed by suffering. Suffering fills my stomach. Another of Okumagba's son is Oyofo Eshogo. That is Benjamin. I have to list out Benjamin. So, because he's a very big troublemaker. He worried there before he died. So, Oyofo Eshogo, Eshofo Anatorini, Then one of his children was called Ongarokiri, which means enemy of Okiri. Okumagba Ebo had a lot of bad plans. If not, how will one of his children be named Ongarokiri, enemy of Okiri, due to his suffering as a domestic servant of Awani? If these names cannot convince you that it's a domestic servant, I don't know what will convince you. But I think these names are enough to show the sufferings, because no sane man will give his children this type of names if he were enjoying life. Now, fast forward to Horsey College sales. At the time that Alfred Rewane, O.N. Rewane, Elliot Bego, who was maternally from Okere, and at oppressed, were leaders of Ishakiri, leaders of thought. It occurred to them to build a school. But somewhere, somehow, let us say the truth and let the devil be shared. We should not be covering some of these things. They embezzled money. In order to cover up for the money being embezzled, they decided to play some tricks by buying a land. At that time, Daniel Okumagba was secretary of Okere community. There was nothing called Okere Usobo then. It's just Idimi Usobo, Idimi Jakpa, Ogun Obite, where I belong, and some other Idimis. So Idimi Odekboro, where the Ogungba Jokere is still standing. So they were very young then. These people were just in their 30s, youthful age, very youthful age, just like the army generals who've plunged Nigeria into war. That is the age of adventure. So at that time, one of them who was just changed in the sharing of the money, say, I won't call the person's name, but I think I've revealed enough. He will give this paper back to Daniel Okumagba so that Daniel will go and make case against Ishakiri because they did not give him his share of the money. Not knowing that Daniel will go and change the paper and claim that there is an Okere Urobo. That is how Daniel did the name. And to show that Daniel was a trickster, he went to the court alone so that everything he will say will just be him. Daniel Okumagba went to that case alone against 5 Ishakiri. Officer Lidudu, Awani, and some other people. But what I'm trying to say is Daniel stood in representative capacity of Okumagba family. No other person joined him. That was how he was able to manage to win possessory rights. So all the people claiming Okumagba this, Okumagba that, Okumagba won his land by tricks, and minus that, it was a small piece of land. 281 points. I think it is high time we stopped him from everywhere that is not his. So we'll so come and measure the land and again resue him for radical title. Thank you.